Instruction, golf news, equipment, travel, interviews, course profiles, and more. Your weekly fix of all things golf is about to begin. It's the Flagstick Podcast with your hosts, Jeff Potter and Scott McLeod.
All right. Well, Happy New Year to everybody. And welcome to the 154th episode, but the first episode of the Flagstick Podcast of 2026, this new year.
Hard to believe.
I know. It's exciting. It's really exciting when you start a new year. You kind of feel like everything's new, everything's fresh, everything. But is it really?
No, it's not.
Is anything new or anything fresh? I mean, this is the same shirt that I've worn a number of times recording the podcast. The same hat. My background in my office looks the same. It's still got the same clock and diploma. You look the same. I mean, we're young guys. You know, we're just. Nothing's changed, really. It's episode 154.
I think it's just ceremonial for everybody. I mean, it's that flip of the calendar, and joke as we do or whatever. It always seems to be a symbolic thing. I mean, if people need to do stuff, they can do stuff whenever they want, but they seem to just use January.
There has to be this benchmark.
Yeah. And we'll see that in regards to things, and we'll have some content up on flagstick.com like we always do with like goal setting for the year and stuff like that. It just seems that people all of a sudden their life is going to change. We'll see how long it lasts, but as far as their goals and ambitions and so forth. But
the new year, new you mentality. The gyms will be overrun with people trying to get into shape.
Always.
And
exactly.
It is what it is, right?
But hey, you know what? It has us looking forward, which is really what this show is going to be all about today, anyways.
Yes, indeed.
Setting up that foundation for 2026, and I mean. That's what sort of we all do, and that's what we're going to do today.
Well, let's get started on this. The Flagstick Podcast first episode of 2026 is sponsored by Srixon Golf. At Srixon, performance is more than just a number; it's a feeling, and one that starts at the forge. Introducing ZXi irons with iForged, groundbreaking achievement in shaping, pressing, and heating. It's taken Srixon feel to an entirely new level. ZXi irons from Srixon, how forged should feel. Visit Srixon.ca for more and the full lineup of Srixon products. Of course, we want to make sure that you're following us across all of our social media networks, all of them. Instagram, X, TikTok, and Facebook. Please subscribe on Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. And of course, our YouTube channel. It's there for the liking. So like it, click the notification bell, make sure you never miss a single episode of this great podcast. And we'll be adding more new content to the YouTube channel as we progress through this 2026 season. Yeah. Now on this show, as Scott said right off the top there, we're taking a look ahead. We might peek in the back door a little bit there and see what's been, but we're focused more on looking ahead and what it might hold for golf this year. It should be an interesting season, that's for sure. For us, for the golf world, locally, regionally, nationally, internationally, universally. I don't know.
Sure, why not?
It seemed appropriate to bring up, what kind of golf we're going to be playing in space this year.
I mean, we already know 2026 has brought a new coffee cup for you, as we see the price tag still on the bottom.
Okay, so hang on a second. I didn't peel that off. So let's get to the front nine, presented by our good friends at Metcalf Golf Club. A natural setting, a pleasant challenge. It was a great golf season, and it's over. 2025 is in the rearview mirror. 2026 is a great time to think about your golf season ahead. Personalized golf balls, game packages for everyone. 10, 20, and 30 round passes are always available. And of course, don't forget your memberships and your league registrations.
Yeah, get on that right away.
Yeah, you might want to get on that now. Visit metcalfgolf.com and stay in touch with golf savings. Okay, so about the mug. So here's the thing. So what happened? The faded Tim Hortons mug for years.
Yes.
And I talked about it. And I said, I'm not going to do anything until somebody sends me one.
And you got one.
A good friend, very kind of like the second family to my son Brandon.
Yep.
The Stanleys, Sherry Stanley, Rob Stanley, and of course Shane Stanley, sent me a mug. She showed up at my door and gave me a Tim Hortons mug, which I showed on the podcast and said, "Oh, this is great. Love to have a new mug." Well, Christmas came, and guess what the Stanley family did?
Another mug.
Another mug. So now I got the bear grasping onto his Tim Hortons mug.
Yeah.
And I love this mug. It's so much fun. It's a fun mug. You have mugs that are mugs. You have mugs that are jokey mugs and things like that.
Like my carafe.
Yeah. Like your carafe, exactly. Or your son of a critch or whatever the heck that is there. Son of a nutcracker. And then you've got just an all-out fun mug.
Sure.
So I've got an array of mugs to choose from now.
Perfect.
If you consider 3 an array, I have an array. Thank you to the Stanley family for my beautiful bear mug.
Hey, look, you can't have enough fun in life. So
no, you can't. No, you can't. So I'm starting off the podcast season with a new mug for the show. Who knows? Maybe there'll be more mugs in the future. You never know. This could be like a whole mug festival for me this year.
Well, you know what you're getting from the Stanleys all the time.
Yeah, it'll be a mug. I'm okay with that. I'm totally okay with that.
So how are your holidays?
My holidays were pretty decent, pretty quiet. We don't do a ton, although my wife and son Brandon went down to Kingston for a big family thing. 30 some people.
Oof.
It was a big deal. I was under the weather and did not attend. However, it appears as though my wife brought some of it back with her because she's
Merry
not
Christmas.
feeling on her things. So great. She was okay through Christmas. It happened after Christmas, right before she was going back to work. So I guess an extended Christmas for her. I don't know.
That's never any fun.
No, it's not fun. Being sick is not fun, and being sick with something that knocks you out. I never really have a problem when I get a cold. It's like, oh, fine, I get a cold and blowing my nose, a little rundown, but you still move on. When it drags you down, when it knocks you down to the point where you're like you have to sleep and sit around and eat soup and drink tea all day, you got one that's kind of beating the crap. I hate getting the crap beat out of me.
Well, if there's a time to do it, it's probably this time. So
yeah, you might as well get it out of the way and then have a nice year ahead. So how about you, my friend? Did you do much?
Yeah, no, pretty quiet. Daughter was home from university, which was fantastic. We did not travel, which was nice as well. So unfortunately, a few friends that were trying to come this way didn't. But otherwise, yeah, just fairly quiet. Small dinner for Christmas. Overcooked as far as cooked too big of a turkey for the 9 people that were there. You
can never cook too big of a turkey. Are you kidding me? That's like hot turkey sandwiches for days.
Soup for days. So, but it was fun. Went out New Year's with our good friends, the Rowdens. Yeah, we saw them, and it was good. So no complaints at all, and tried to get a little bit of rest, tried to stay off social media a little bit, and even did some education stuff, so which is all right.
Nice.
As I normally do. You know me.
You can never educate yourself too much.
No, it's exactly it. So and updated the website with one of the things we're going to mention here are the GJAC Awards for 2025.
Oh, right. Yes. Now, the Canadian Golf Journalists Association of Canada every year has their annual awards where they certain categories, and those awards have been those recipients have been selected, and those awards are the story of the year. This year was Brooke Henderson winning the CPKC Women's Open. No surprise that would be story of the year when a Canadian wins their national title. Yeah. At any level, whether it's LPGA, PGA, doesn't matter.
And obviously, these are Canadian focused as far as awards.
Of course. So Brooke Henderson winning the story of the year. Male pro of the year was Corey Connors. I really don't think that's much of a surprise. The funny thing is, I look at this list of awards. I'm like, none of these are really surprising me a whole lot. Like,
I think the Pro of the Year one was interesting because Nick Taylor had won, Corey didn't, but won over $8 million on tour and had a overall a more consistent record. So I think that's probably why. And these are just voted on by the membership. So again, it's sort of like it's a little subjective, but obviously, as you said, Corey had a pretty fantastic year, and some of these seem pretty obvious.
Female Pro of the Year, Brooke Henderson again. I mean,
Sure.
I'm not too sure who else you're going to give that to. As far as female pros go.
Yeah, the only
if
one
you were picking a female, now here's an interesting question. Okay, so female Pro of the Year, Brooke Henderson. Female Amateur of the Year, Aphrodite Ding. Now that's not a surprise either.
Yeah.
So here's the question for you: if you had to choose a female golfer of the year, not a pro or an amateur, which one?
You know what? I took neither of these two. My female pro of the year was actually Anna Huang, who was a 16-year-old who won twice on the Ladies European Tour. So she would be my female player of the year.
There you go. See, Scott McLeod. Why didn't Scott McLeod's pick get through?
Didn't get enough votes.
I don't think enough journalists are paying attention to the bigger picture. You can't just read the headlines. You're a journalist. Can't just read the headlines. Or you can't just write your own headlines. Male co-amateurs of the year, Hunter Thompson and Isaiah Ibbotts.
Yep.
Isaiah had a really, really good year at the NCAA level and at the national level. So there you go. There's the GJAC, Canadian or Golf Journalists Association of Canada Awards for 2025. We'll see what happens into 2026 with these. I mean, obviously, this sort of prepares you for following. Okay, well, this is what they did in 2025. What's up for 2026? Yep. Okay, so the theme of this show is a looking ahead at 2026 and what golf might look like. And we start off with some trends and key stories. Now, from our own perspective,
in our backyard, eh?
Yeah, I would say you might as well start. You might as well start with ourselves. What is in store for 2026 for Flagstick? Well, what we do know is that the 2026 Flagstick Open will be returning to Equinel once again. Significant negotiations have completed, aka a meeting for coffee with myself and Jason Walmark from Equinel in his office to discuss the plans moving forward. And the Flagstick Open will be back at Equinel this year and pretty much for the foreseeable future.
14th edition? 14th?
It is the 14th edition. 14th,
hard to believe.
Yeah, it's. I mean, and for us to have it at Equinel every year, I mean, I think it's something to. You don't necessarily, if you're not running the tournament, you don't necessarily understand when you have a venue that is as good as Equinel is for hosting a tournament, and you host it every year at the same place. The ease at which things can be operated. Especially when you're dealing with the people that you're dealing with at Equinel who know what they're doing when it comes to hosting. And when we've done it as long as we've done it, that setting up where the first bunch of years or maybe the first 2 or 3 years you do it, you're constantly, okay, we got to do this, we got to do this, we got to do this, we got to lay this out here and say, there's a template now. And Scott McIlroy from Equinel has it, Jason has it, I have it, when we set up, it's loading the car up or the stuff up to go down, where we're going to set up, how we're going to set up. It's pin sheets, pin positions, tee markers, like all of that stuff is. It's here. It is. We're just doing. We just boom, 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 boom. We're set up and ready to go. So it makes it a lot easier for us. And the venue is always made to be in the best shape possible for us when we get there for this tournament. So
Chris and his team are fantastic on the course.
So yes, it'll be at Equinel. Now there will be a more significant increase in the registration fee this year, which we'll be announcing. The registration will open in the next week or so. So be aware of that. There will be a little bit more significant increase this year than other years, as we're trying to cover off some costs some increases in costs to the golf course, to us.
Yep.
It's just the nature of the beast. Things are costing a little bit more money, as you
Sure.
are well aware around the world. Everything's costing a little bit more money to get your hands on stuff.
Yeah, but I think everybody that plays in it, they know what a tremendous value it is, and how we've worked hard to put that value in there.
Yes.
And I think every year when people come and they see their registration gifts and they see their package and everything, and obviously the course and how it's organized or whatever, it's hard to argue the value that you get for that. So
exactly.
I mean, obviously we're biased in saying that, but having witnessed a lot of other tournaments and seeing how little value sometimes is given back to the participants, I certainly if I was the player, I would say, okay, that's a no-brainer for what's being charged.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the Flagstick Open. The flagstick.com shootout will be back at Smuggler's Glen again this summer. We're continuing to grow that event up as well, and every year we've had an increase in participation. So we're hoping to get a little bit more increase in participation again this year, and bring that back to Smuggler's Glen. And also the possibility, I'm not going to make any promises, but the possibility of a third event this year to potentially bring back the two-ball championship that we started at back at Brockville Country Club. It wouldn't be at Brockville Country Club, I can tell you that, but venue is the issue that we're dealing with right now, trying to find a dance partner, so to speak, to host. Sure. So we're going to be working on that, or I'm going to be working on that the first part of this year to see if we can pull that off. If we can, then we may add a third event later in the season in the two-ball. The other big announcement that we're preparing to make very soon is the possible return of the print version of Flagstick magazine in celebration of our 30th anniversary season. So that is the print magazine stopped being produced shortly after COVID. During COVID, we stopped, and we never brought it back due to increased costs in printing and whatnot. Because it's our 30th anniversary season this year, which is a big deal to us, we're looking at working with the local printer, to bring back a limited run of limited editions of the print version of Flagstick magazine for the 2026 season in celebration of our 30th anniversary. So watch for that as well at your golf course, golf retailer. We obviously will make a big announcement about that once we finalize the details on it. But so that is Flagstick for the 2026 season. That's a lot of stuff.
There's a lot more than that too, so we just can't share it all. So whether it's the website, social media, whatever, even though it, like you said, it is the 30th season. I made note of that the other day on our X account or Twitter account or whatever. It's like 19 years, I think, we've been on that platform, and
I know
80,000 posts later with that. So
that's crazy. How many? Because I know you look at it too. I was just trying to look. I looked at it the other day because I saw the backup numbers. But how many posts are on?
Oh, I've over 8,000 on Flagstick.com.
Yeah, so, like it's a lot. You know what? I want to know. Hang on a second.
And we should say that 8,000 that's listed up on there is after the website. I don't know what year that was, where the website got roasted. So that's only 8,000 since then.
8,000 posts.
Yeah. So that would be, what was it? 2000. I'm trying to think. Was it 2014 or 15?
It was 2014.
14.
When hang on a second. So
or was it after that?
Project. What was the name of the project we did? Project.
I'm old, dude.
Oh my god. Was it Project 14?
Maybe. Yeah, I think so.
When we launched it, the first version of the WordPress site was sucked really bad.
Yes.
Until we got got out of that and we started working with Baytech Systems to rebuild it, and then we took it over ourselves and rebuilt it again. 8,000, almost 8,100 posts, 131,000 uploads.
Yeah.
That's images.
That's like, probably in. So that's in 11 years, I guess.
Yeah. 11,
a little
12
bit of
years. That's a lot.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Oh my God. All right.
Yeah.
Enough about us. We could talk about us for another hour. Enough about us. Let's talk about the season ahead, the golf season that is in front of us. Pro golf. Here are a few of the here's some of the key stories that will dominate fairways in 2026. The Grand Slam watch. Now, interestingly enough, I would not have thought we were
thinking about it.
Yeah,
like you know what I mean? We were last year, because obviously with McIlroy last year.
Because McIlroy's been around a while. Like, this has taken McIlroy a while to win the Masters and to complete the Grand Slam. But Scottie Scheffler has the opportunity to do the same thing. All he needs is the U.S. Open.
You got it.
And I would not. I mean, I would not put that out of the realm of possibility. No,
I certainly wouldn't bet against it. That's
not a U.S. Open. The way he plays, not a U.S. Open. I mean, I could definitely see him potentially doing it. Like,
yeah, I mean, the cool part is when you obviously we'll hear lots about it leading into it, and because he's American, it'll obviously have kind of an extra emphasis, especially from the media side of things for stories and so forth and the build up. But it's going to be at Shinnecock, so on Long Island, one of the historic golf courses for the USGA, one of the very first for the USGA. So as a result of it, there'll definitely be some build up for that. I mean, already I'm starting to hear some people talk about it, whisper about it, and we're 6 months away. But yeah, the opportunity to have a second completion of the Grand Slam in 2 consecutive years is something else. So yeah.
And with Rory, is the other story is Rory is okay. So he won the Masters. Yep. He completed it.
Yeah, but it had been so long since he won a major, right? So
can he get himself back after having done it? And then there was a pretty good lull. And I mean,
over a decade.
Yeah, he didn't fall off the planet after winning the Masters, but everybody kind of alluded to the fact that he kind of took a big sigh of relief and a deep breath after winning the completing the career Grand Slam.
Yeah.
And can he, going into 2026, can he get back to that level of dominance and build another era of dominance? Yeah. Or is he, still hemming and hawing and sighing?
Yeah, because it had been that decade plus that he hadn't won a major. So, is the one an anomaly, or is it the start of a second, run for him? So
yeah, it's hard to say.
And I think a lot of people are paying attention to that. Obviously, a lot of people pay attention to Rory. He is, as we've mentioned before, he is definitely the needle out there right now as far as for people watching, probably more than Scheffler, just because, Rory is obviously more expressive as far as, his comments and so forth. He's willing to give his opinions. He's willing to put himself out there where, Scottie Scheffler is happy to win trophies and go home. As a result of it, people are paying attention to Rory a little bit more. So we'll see what that means for Rory, and people are already talking about the Masters already, and we're months away still, but on the men's side of it, it's certainly a story to watch.
Yeah, no question. Now another story to watch.
Yeah, we'll see how much happens to this one.
Tiger Woods turned 50.
Yep, on December 30th.
Yep, making him fully eligible now for the Champions Tour.
Yeah.
So obviously the big question is, will we see him on the Champions Tour anytime soon, given that he just had a surgery and he's just now getting back to taking swings and things like that? obviously it does remain to be seen how much he'll play on the Champions Tour this year, but will he dominate the Champions Tour? A lot of guys, I mean, we've seen this. A lot of players that go and jump to the Champions Tour right off the PGA Tour do have a certain time frame of dominance. Fred Couples dominated. Bernard Longer dominated the Champions
He's
Tour.
He's still dominating.
Ernie Els had some early success. Steve Stricker had a lot of success.
Sure.
So there's guys that went from PGA Tour to Champions Tour and dominated.
But they were all healthy.
Tiger, yes. Well, was Fred ever really healthy?
No, but he wasn't in this condition as far as his body is concerned.
Exactly.
Yes, obviously, he didn't have a back that would allow a lot. I mean, I think the secret here for the Champions Tour is the cart use.
Yeah.
Right? They can use a cart, which is a difference maker, especially when you're talking to somebody like Tiger Woods, when it's obviously he had a severe leg injury in that car crash, back issues. If you just have to jump out of the cart and make a swing, you still got to make a swing. Let's not kid ourselves here. You still got to have a functioning body to make a good golf swing and to have the endurance to play through this. But I mean, again, we're talking mostly 54 events, not 72, in a cart. Doesn't have to do the walking. And we saw that a few years ago at Augusta National, where the walking became a problem for him. And his swing looked fine, but obviously walking up and down the hills at Augusta
over
National,
time, the swing starts to not look fine.
Yeah, you're just losing it. So I don't know what my expectations are. I don't think I have a lot.
I don't feel like dominance is the word that I would use. I think competitive when he's healthy and ready to play. Oh, yeah. I don't think he'll play if he can't be competitive. So,
but what does he play? Do you see him showing up at the, whatever in the middle of nowhere, or do you see him showing up for their 5 majors? I don't know what he puts in effort and do those 5 majors and consider as well, something like the U.S. Senior Open is one of their majors, but that's again a little bit of a grueling test. That is a 4-rounder. There's one where he'd have to get if he was going to try to use a cart, he'd have to get a special exemption or whatever to use it. So I don't know. I think he's still probably in his mind, as we know, being north of 50, you still want to cling to that other side of things. So, chances are if he's competitive and he's feeling like his golf swing is good, he probably is more inclined to want to show up at the regular majors than he is at anything
probably
Champions Tour. So I think it's an outlet for him, but I don't expect to see him there on a regular
not the way a lot of them are now. Not maybe later on when PGA Tour is not still something in his mind that he plays a little bit more in the Champions Tour, but right now I could see him maybe just playing the majors, maybe the odd other event that kind of fits the
family schedule
like kind of thing. I can see that, but
if I'm Stephen Alker right now, I'm not quivering the fact that somebody's going to come and steal my title as the top guy right away. That's for sure. So again, low expectations. I mean, face it, right now, I mean, he's not even playing TGL right now, so and it's indoor, so he's still got to wait. He's still got to see
that on the list of things to talk about here anywhere.
He's still it's a little bit in there. He's still got a little bit of ways to go. So hey, he's 50. It's a new chapter. Good luck. Hopefully we see him, but I mean, hopefully we see him in something rather than it doesn't really matter what it is. Champions, regular tour, majors, you name it. But
I agree. Okay, so this is another big one. And I gotta say I kind of like this, and I think that it's going to be a springboard for more.
I think so too.
The great return, Brooks Koepka is coming back to the PGA Tour.
We don't know that yet. He's left Live.
Yes, he's left Live.
Yeah,
his contract is over, as are a number of players that made that jump when Liv did the big jump to Liv.
So his contract had another year to it, but he basically got himself out of it. But you're right. A lot of the other ones will end at the end of 2026.
Right. So what does that Here's the big question I have is okay. So Koepka, so he has to sit out a year. That's the rule. He has to take a year suspension. Maybe he gets some. He's still going to play majors. He's still eligible to play the majors, so he's still going to play the majors. But he can play the DP World Tour events, or the Asian Tour, while he waits for his exemption or his suspension to be play out or get lifted, one or the other, before he can return to the PGA Tour. I suspect that he will return to the PGA Tour. I can't see him just retiring from golf.
No, I mean, Mito Pereira did that at, age 30, over the last couple of weeks or whatever, but Mito Pereira is not Brooks Koepka. Brooks Koepka is a 5-time PGA Tour winner, and, he's made it known, and we saw it in full swing, and he talked about a number of different things. And, he took the money when he did, not knowing what his future was with a knee injury and so forth. I think he misses the competitive aspect of the game. I think, no matter what they say, and he's been always pretty quiet about that. He has not been, he didn't join the lawsuits. He was like, he was he just kind of minded his P's and Q's and didn't really make too many comments on, LIV being more competitive or a better format or so forth. But I think he misses that competitiveness. I think when he comes back to the majors and he gets the feel and see all the other best players in the world, I'm sorry, going and beating up the Poulters and the Westwoods of the world and a whole bunch of nameless players, except for obviously there's a few, top players that were over there. Your Roms and Cam Smith, used to be, and Bryson, obviously.
But see, that's the thing, right? I mean, a guy like Cam Smith was at the top of the heap, went over there, and he's just kind of, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I watched him playing the Australian Open, and obviously he has some form, but it's not quite the same, because the thing is like, as well as I in sports, if you want to be the best, you got to play the best. You got to play against the best and force yourself to compete. And if you're an NHL player and you go out and play shinny with a bunch of 10-year-olds in the you're not gaining anything with
and I think a lot of those guys think that the ones that made the jump from the PGA Tour to LIV were the best of the best, so that they were going to continue playing the best. And the reality is they weren't.
No.
A lot of the guys that made the jump were on the back end of their golfing careers, were less interested in the grind of the PGA Tour on a week-to-week basis, so they went there. And delusionally think that because they were good at one point, that they were going to be still the best players that were playing, and that wasn't the case. So we got to take a break. But so Koepka potentially coming back to the PGA Tour, I think the likelihood is that he will be, but he's got to wait his 1 year period. We'll still see him in the majors.
And I think, like you said, I think it sets the table for more returns.
Yeah, exactly. All right. We got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to continue powering through our look ahead at 2026 with the pro golf circuit, as well as some other interesting tasks. So stay with us. You are listening and watching the Flagstick Podcast with Jeff Potter and Scott McLeod. We'll be right back.
How do you forge pure? With more pressure, more precision, more focus, more control. ZXI irons. Pure forged. Pure Srixon.
All right, well, welcome back to the Flagstick Podcast with Jeff Potter and Scott McLeod. About take on our back nine, presented this week by Falcon Ridge Golf Club. Indoor golf is in full swing at Falcon Ridge. The simulators are open 7 days a week, starting at 8 a.m. and shutting down at 11 p.m. maybe. They have 4 TrackMan simulators featuring over 400 golf courses, including many PGA Tour courses that you would be familiar with. They also have great beverages and light food available. So book your tee times on one of the 4 TrackMan sims. Visit falconridgegolf.ca. All right, so we just shifted a bit of information from our front nine into our back nine, and we're going to keep moving forward. Professional golf has some new sheriffs in town.
You got it. Yeah.
For the first time in decades, we'll say, nearly every major golf organization has a new leader at the helm. And that means someone else is running the show.
Yeah. So, and that's across, most significantly the PGA Tour, the LPGA Tour. Brian Rolap, took over at the PGA Tour. He's a former NFL executive. It's going to be his first calendar year as a CEO. So, he's got a big task ahead here in trying to stabilize the professional game, obviously from the PGA Tour aspect and affiliated people. And, it is the biggest tour in the world. So a lot of people are looking ahead to see what happens there from a merger perspective, change in format perspective, new TV contracts, dealing with, media rights, these signature events, membership. Obviously, we have a reduced membership on the PGA Tour with 100 full-time members. So there's a lot of tasks for him to take on, and he's probably obviously looking at them with fresh eyes versus the former executive. And it's the same over in the LPGA Tour. Craig Kessler's in there, and now his task is basically they've got a lot of momentum on the LPGA Tour, and they've got to capitalize on that. They've got big growth in women's sports overall, and they've got to basically make it happen. This is their opportunity right now, with the star power that they have, the visibility, the corporate sponsorship, everything that's there from a momentum standpoint. And can they solidify that to push that into the future? So, and less so, down at, Liv, Scott O'Neill's taking.
Why are we even talking about that?
Because unfortunately it is part of the landscape of the world. So, but they've got a new executive there, but what does that mean? Is the person that's going to drive it to the end, or whatever. So, I mean, it's an aside more than anything, but it's something that, becomes more important just because of the players that are there and where they're headed, as we spoke about before. But yeah, the biggest thing, obviously, PGA Tour, LPGA Tour, and kind of what does that mean for their futures?
Exactly. Actually, I look at that kind of a list of, and I look at the background of some of those new bosses, new sheriffs, and I gotta say, from a hockey perspective, I don't understand why an organization like Hockey Canada is not taking a page out of that, and why are they not appointing people or bringing people in to run Hockey Canada that are the business executives in the sports world, and not continuing to put people who are former hockey superstars in positions to decide what the future of Hockey Canada is. There was a recent announcement about Brendan Shanahan being announced as someone who's overseeing the junior program, junior hockey program. It's like, this is the guy that is put the plan in place for you Toronto Maple Leaf fans. Put the plan in place for your team to get out of the rut of Stanley Cup drought, and he's still there doing the same things, and your team still isn't any better.
Yeah, I think the issue in a lot of spaces is that there's too much put into the wrong areas of skills. You need the people with the right skills for the positions that they are.
Yes.
And that doesn't necessarily mean that, and I see it all the time in sports, just because somebody's the best player doesn't mean they're the best coach. They're different skills. So same in this case, just because, and I see it all the time, PGA Tour, people would be going, oh, put so-and-so, this player in place. That's not their skill. Their skill. They may have developed that skill or done that otherwise. And that
you might have been a good golfer. It doesn't mean that you're going to be you're good at developing the next wave of golfers, or that you even know anything about the business side of golf.
Right.
Like you're a golfer.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a different skill set. It's a different
100%. 100%.
Yeah, Jeff Ogilvy didn't become a good architect because he was a good player. It helped inform him, but he had to do a lot of study of architecture to make that happen. So it's a different skill set. So totally. You're right. When we see, they dip into the leadership of, previous other sports. That is obviously
that's a smart way to go about it.
If you're a skill set that's needed. Yeah,
you got someone who used to run the NFL or used to run the NBA or used to run some other sports organization that is not a hockey guy, or in this case, you got a former NFL executive that's now involved in being the commissioner of the PGA Tour, which is golf.
Yep.
Okay, that's probably a good thing.
Yeah, they can learn. They can learn the golf aspect, but they
Mhm.
need to know the business aspect, the media rights
Exactly.
aspect, the marketing aspect. Know the people in the game, know the exact, and that makes a difference. So
Exactly.
it signifies a hopefully a change in some things for these
Mhm.
organizations and some good leadership, and the year will play that out.
So this will be a lesson to you, hockey. Just because the person's a Hall of Famer and maybe put up a lot of points as a player does not
Yeah, that's it.
necessarily mean that they're the right person qualified to see
Yeah,
your organization into the next
yeah,
phase of its growth.
yes,
Maybe
exactly.
find somebody who was not a superstar, who just knows a lot about hockey to do that. Anyway, okay, so every year we get kind of excited. It's the majors are what excites us as golf
Sure.
fans. We're
Yeah,
interested in all aspects of golf. The major championships kind of perk us up a little bit, and
definitely.
depending on where those major championships are hosted,
Hmm.
that can perk us up a little bit more, as it has in recent years. When a U.S. Open goes to a certain golf course, we're like, oh my God, this is going to be the one, and
Yeah.
then it rains profusely for 100 days beforehand, and it's kind of like a sloppy mess.
Uh,
But we
the
hopefully
fun.
that doesn't happen this year. But obviously, the four majors: the Masters, Augusta National in April. That's the springboard. That's the launch.
Yeah.
That's what we look forward to. Nothing changes there. But the PGA Championship,
Yeah, Aronimink is going to be really good in just outside Philly, just a classic golf course. So that's one, it's hard sometimes. These PGA championships don't necessarily get the best layouts. So in this case, they get a nice West Philadelphia beauty.
yeah, I'm excited about that one. The U.S. Open at Shinnecock Hills.
Yeah.
This is it's widely considered one of the toughest setups in golf.
Yeah.
And so we look at last year as, what were we going to see
Mm,
as a tough setup there. And now we
yeah.
look ahead to Shinnecock Hills and like, okay, is this going to
Yeah.
be, a
Yeah. And
tough
I
one
think
like that?
Shinnecock's a little bit different because it's more linksy. It's in this kind of the sand belt of Long Island. You get those super firm golf course, super firm greens. Obviously, we've had some incidents there with certain players over the years, putting
Hmm.
off of greens and all sorts of different things. So yeah, it sets up a different test rather than just thick, wet, rough.
Hmm.
It's a little bit different, and like you said, it feels a little bit more linksy. So it's almost like we get two opens more than
Yeah.
anything.
Which
Yeah.
I never really mind. I know some people complain about the idea that, we have an open championship, which is generally played on links golf courses, and then every year the US Open is on a links golf course.
Mhm.
Um, you know, I get what people are saying, but at the same time, we want the US Open to be held on the toughest test possible for these professional golfers. And sometimes those tough golf courses are linksy style golf courses. It's not a links golf course, so let's just get that out of the way. It's not a links golf course. It's a linksy style,
Mm,
wide open,
yeah.
golf course, but it's not the same thing as it being at St. Andrews. It's not the same turf. It's not the same, it's different, but it's similar. And no,
Yeah.
it's not a parkland golf course.
No, it's a
That's
link style for sure, and with that sandy soil and so forth, and yeah, so it has more of that flavor.
so exciting, Shinnecock. Now let's look at the Open Championship, Royal Birkdale
Hmm.
in mid-July.
Yep.
This is where Lord Jordan Spieth won his legendary victory in 2017. Has it been
Yes.
that long since Jordan
Yeah,
Spieth? Is that wow, wow,
I know. Goes fast, dude.
yeah? But he's
Yeah.
still so young.
I know, and the thing is that this golf course may not jump off the map for everyone. It's not a place where everybody will remember every single hole, but they will have some familiarity with it because of Jordan, the way Jordan Spieth played it for sure, and
Hmm.
it is the Open, so pretty solid sites, enough to
Yeah,
get your
very.
attention. Yeah,
I mean, does it get me wound up and excited? Absolutely. It's
yeah,
like all those venues are going to be fun to watch. Um, really, really excited about seeing the venue for the PGA Championship. Like that one, I mean, I've seen
Yes.
enough golf. I've seen enough U.S. Opens and tournaments at Shinnecock and Birkdale and obviously Augusta to see what's going to happen at a PGA Championship for a change, where you're not disappointed in the venue, thinking how is this a major? Maybe we see a PGA Championship that's a little bit more contested.
I think what'll be neat too for a lot of people is to get familiar with that area. You're going to see, if they watched the Champions Tour, they would have been familiar with Philly Cricket Club, which is not far away, hosting previously. But there's a ton right in that area, so there'll be a lot of little, videos and so forth, showing lots of the golf around that area. But that'll be a fun one. So.
Cool. All right, the LPGA. This is very exciting, and it's got to be very exciting for the LPGA Tour players too.
I think so. Yeah,
that the U.S. Women's Open is going to be at Riviera.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Year. That is now most people are familiar with Riviera. It's where usually the home for the Genesis Invitational Tigers tournament. Yep. It has hosted more than its fair share of major championships.
It has,
and for the LPGA to have the U.S. Women's Open there this year, that's going to be
just a quality test of golf. Again, recognition level. I think a lot of people will tune in. More people will tune in, not just for the play. They'll also tune in for the golf course as well, because they're familiar with it. That will make it a little bit more enthralling for them, because if they've watched this, they know holes like 10, the short par 4. It's like, what are they going to do for the setup for that? And they're used to seeing it during the Genesis. It's like, well, how's this going to play during the U.S. Women's Open? So I think it only elevates every aspect of this championship. It only elevates everything in the women's game for sure. And it'll definitely, I know it'll be on must watch TV for me for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I'm there. Okay. So from the perspective of the professional golf tours, that's kind of a look at what's coming in 2026. All very exciting. All very exciting to see what's happening with Flagstick in 2026. But I think we get most excited about some of the other aspects of golf. In particular, we get excited about equipment, or we have in the past. Personally, I get less excited about it now than I used to. I don't know whether it's this.
You get a little numb to it. Because,
you see it all the time. You see the little idiosyncrasies of change in development of equipment and new, something that truly is new and innovative. There's lots of innovation. There's always innovation, and there's always going to be innovation. How in the world these companies continue to find innovation is beyond me. But so what are those trends in equipment coming in 2026?
Well, I think a lot of it, like you say, we're seeing a lot of new equipment. We're going to see a lot of introductions this week. You just have to follow things like our Instagram and X and on flagstick.com. We'll have a lot of introductions this week, especially, but heading into the PGA show at the end of the month. But, I think the biggest thing is it's the change in trends more than anything. And I think a lot of that not only has to do with the equipment, but sort of the story around it. We're seeing iteration changes, as you mentioned. A lot of that comes forward because we have new materials available, more design interests, things where manufacturers now have the capability of, tightening things up a little bit, making things in a way that, it reduces some variability. Obviously, the player has the biggest factor in that over anything. But I think what's happening is going to be a little bit of change in the marketing a little bit. I think the consumer will still be locked into a little bit of, because they've been so used to it being marketed that way, as far as the longer and straighter narrative, as I call it, for the last kind of 20 years. I think what we're seeing now is as margins grow thinner and in these iterations and how they can grow them, manufacturers are obviously want to make sure that consumers are looking at things that are more fine-tuned. We've talked about fitting, but we're also talking about, using more data-driven information to help the fitting, to increase consumer knowledge, to help educate the golfer more, to make them get the most out of their equipment. Manufacturers want you to buy more equipment. They certainly do. That's their business. That's fair for them to be in. But they also want to make sure that people are getting the best out of it. They just want to sell you stuff. They want to sell you stuff that you're going to rave about, and you're only going to rave about it if you're fitted properly and it performs well for you. So they are working harder to, focus focus their messages and what I've seen, and you'll see a lot of things coming up based on, driving that fitting process, finding better ways to fine tune the golf club to the golfer to make it clubs that they can keep in their bag maybe a little bit longer, which is going to be more important as, retail prices are not getting any lower.
Nope.
Sorry, folks. Because of that, buying cycles might change a bit. So people might not change as much in how long that they have a driver and iron. There's always going to be people that are going to be changing all the time. But I think the biggest thing is that, it's the variability within that equipment. I know a driver that'll be coming out kind of later this week. That's one of the key things that they're after. It's not a case of promises of longer, straighter. It's reducing variability in the performance of, when you're hitting it off the face, not getting as, maybe it has to do with spin rates or speed or whatever, but getting it so that platform, when you hit it, you don't have to be quite as good, right? But right. In essence, it will work with you. And the last sort of note on that, I think it's really hard when there's so many products coming out all the time to stay excited about it. I mean, I love golf equipment, but I don't change as much as maybe I used to or think I had to. And I think that happens for the consumer as well, as they realize that, the equipment is less the miracle that they realize that, they're just tools, that then they realize, okay, maybe if I just put a little bit more effort into getting what works for me rather than just, buying hope, then it's probably going to be a better relationship with their golf equipment.
Exactly. Okay. So from the standpoint of travel, there's a lot of there's continued growth, there's popularity of the Canadian golf destinations. Now, part of that obviously has to do with a lot of the uncertainty of what's going on in the U.S., how difficult it's becoming to travel to the U.S. Golf travel in the U.S. used to be a big thing. For us, we used to do a lot of traveling, a lot of travel, like fam trips and things like that to the U.S. We don't do as much anymore, and we probably won't have those on the radar very much in the near future either, which brings in more travel within your country. It's easier. There's amazing places to stay and play golf all across our own country, coast to coast to coast. So there is less of an interest. I mean, I'm seeing I get a few more phone calls from out west, from some places out there that want to do some marketing stuff with us to reach our audiences. So I think that's the big trend going forward, is that we're not, now there's going to be maybe a little bit more overseas travel for some people, because again, that's easier. It may be more costly, but because of the less travel to the US, those places overseas are starting to make the travel to their destinations that much more affordable for people from Canada and from other countries, because it's easier to go. So that becomes the hotbed to travel. It's like, I'm going to go to Scotland. I'm going to go to Ireland. I'm going to go to Australia. I'm going to go here, because going across the border is getting costly and a pain, and frankly, just a royal pain in the behind. So why do I want to go there?
Yeah, in the wintertime, we're seeing more Canadians have headed to, Vancouver Island. Obviously, you're not getting, super hot weather or whatever, but we're also seeing trends of people going to Portugal, Spain, those areas as well. They become popular kind of in the wintertime. In the summertime, as you said, West Coast got really popular, East Coast super popular. There's a lot of people that are taking the time now to make the trips that they always wanted to take, and they always came up with excuses of why they wouldn't go there, and then by default, they went to their wherever, Arizona or whatever. And now they're going, it's summertime. I can go to Nova Scotia. I can go to PEI. I can go to BC. Why don't we make that trip? So we're seeing that across the way. The other thing that we're seeing within that trend is that now all that boom of golfers that came into the game during COVID, they're now beginning to explore golf trips. They learned the game. They played around their local spot. Now they're wanting to explore a little bit. So we're seeing a little bit more of that. And those golfers are a little bit different. They're not like your traditional golfer that would just go play lots of golf and head to the hotel. They're looking now for experiences. They're looking for
they want the total package.
They want the total package. They want to go, they want to have, restaurants and casinos and all sorts of different things. So the travel market is certainly heating up again for sure.
Now, in conversations I've had with Sam McPhail at Golf PEI, Golf PEI is a huge partner of ours, has been for years, continues to be. There's a lot more. There's a very huge increase in interest to traveling to PEI for golf, and they have that sort of total package. They have the casinos, they have the hotels, the restaurants, they have the golf, obviously. So that's the kind of thing everybody's looking for. So obviously that's a big destination that they're looking at. And there's a lot of other destinations like that across the country that people should be looking at. So, you know, if we gave you any piece of advice, it's homegrown golf destinations and golf travel is a really great way to go. And if you don't want to do that and you do want to leave the country, then maybe you want to skip over that place just down below us and look at one that you have to cross a little bit of water to get to.
There you go.
Okay, so a little bit more time here from a business perspective in golf. What we're seeing is within the golf course industry and memberships and that kind of business model, that's starting to change a lot more.
Yeah.
Where some golf courses are getting away from the membership model, like the true membership model, and getting into more of a model that maximizes the tee sheet usage, just more of a per play where you pay a certain fee to have access to the golf course at a certain rate when you want to play. It's less of that sort of all-inclusive, I'm paying this much money and I can play whenever I want and put it on my tab and all this kind of stuff. You know, there are many golf courses still doing that. And frankly, for me, I love that model. I love the model of belonging to a club. I think when you belong, you take more ownership of that particular club. More pride in being a member there.
And those memberships are not disappearing. This is more a note that there are a variety of membership models.
Now, with some golf courses, that membership model is going away. But for many golf courses, they still have the membership model, but they have these other options. So the public green feeing is changing a little bit. So instead of just going and paying your green fee every time you play, you sort of think, okay, well, that's of course I frequent, but I don't want to pay a membership. So I'm going to do this package thing at multiple golf courses and pay a lower rate each time I want to play. You know, there's hybrid membership models, obviously, where you have simulators available, you know, fitness, you know, if you noticed on your list, your dedicated workspace. I didn't even think about that. But where you can go, you can play, you can work out. They may have a gym on site, an area where you can actually plug your laptop in, connect to the Wi-Fi, do some work. I think that's a great idea. Having a sort of a space where you can go and work. The satellite workers, the people that work from home, they want to go to the golf course, they still want to work, get the golf in, have a bite to eat, maybe do a workout. It's all in one place. Great model for golf courses that have the space to do that, to entice people to want to be at that golf course because they provide all the amenities available that they can to do their job and to still experience the golf course atmosphere. You know, there's I think now we've talked about this, that golf courses need to focus their attentions on the overall experience and which includes the service, the amenities that they provide, and focus less on the price. Again, I guess this is the thing. Is like we I don't want to see us go back into this era of dropping our price, 2-for-1ing, you know, discount. And I have seen last year, I saw a little bit of it start to happen a lot more. And I don't want to see that trend happen again as we kind of continue to move out of the COVID era, which we're always going to call it the COVID era because it is a time in the golf industry where the industry boomed massively because it was a forced thing. You wanted to do something. This is the only thing you could do. So people did it. And people haven't stopped doing it. Some have, but we've got sort of that COVID era that's spilling over. We don't want to go backwards again.
No.
Because that's just going to hurt the industry long term. We need to provide experiences. We need to make it so that when you come to that golf course, it's like, I want to come back to this golf course because they did this and they did this and they had this and they provided this and like you got to provide. You can't just be taking.
No.
You have to provide an experience.
Yeah. So that's overall those that's some of those trends where they're realizing it's like, okay, you need to be a more all-inclusive facility and have people want to go there and not think about the price. You know what I mean? It's part of their budget, it's part of what they do, but they're not going there. I think it's easy to think that people are making decisions solely on price, and obviously, price has a factor for a number of people. But if you're running your business solely by that, and then you're going to have a tough go. It's hard to discount your way into prosperity. So,
well, I'll tell you right now, from my own personal perspective, when I go to a golf course, the price of my green fee is not my priority.
No,
that's down the list. Have. I mean, if I have 5 things that I'm interested in at a golf course that make me want to play it, price might be 5 on that list.
Yep.
The first 4 have everything to do with the experience. What happens when I drive in the parking lot and park my car? Am I greeted in the parking lot? Am I greeted as I'm dropping my bag off by somebody? Like a greeter. It's like you used to go to Walmart. There'd be a Walmart greeter. They don't even have that anymore. But a greeter, somebody to talk to me when I get there, to welcome me to the facility. The service in the pro shop when I go in to pay my green fee. Again, customer service. One of the things that has bothered me more than anything over the years or lately I don't buy my coffee at Tim Hortons as much anymore. One of the reasons for that is the service sucks. Like it really does. Nobody cares about the customer anymore. Everybody cares about just give me your here's your thing, give me your money. Here's your thing. They don't care. And I don't know if it's minimum wage is up there high. I get it. It's all relative. When I made $5, it was probably equivalent to the $20 an hour people are making now. I get that. Maybe I'm not paid enough to be friendly. I don't know where that became a thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, friendly's friendly. That's part of customer service. Anyway, I get too wound up on that. Golf needs to be like that.
Yes. We have whole episodes talking about that if you want to go back and listen to it. So,
so what you want to talk about AI? I want to skip forward to
just go wherever you want.
The rise of the invisible maintenance.
Yeah.
Now I see this a little bit firsthand because my son Brandon works at Camelot on the maintenance team. So they, I'm sure they've experienced a little bit with the robot. Grass.
Almost everybody's testing them right now.
Everybody's trying them out. I hope that we don't go down that road too much. I kind of like the idea that, we still have people out there walking behind the mowers, cutting the greens. But I also understand that this is where we're going, right? I mean,
I think at this point, most of them are just doing, roughs and fairways. They're not doing it from a green perspective. But in some cases here, it's, having to deal with things out there with labor shortages and so forth, staffing, so we're seeing courses kind of looking at GPS guided robots to mow rough and so forth, autonomous range pickers.
I can see that the range picker thing.
Yeah.
Most people don't want to do that job anyway.
Oh no, it's a terrible job having done it before. So
all you do is get whacked by people trying to hit you.
So you're going to see more of that. There's more technology on the the maintenance side of things than ever. And again, that's not saying good, bad, or otherwise. It's just saying there is a rise in that as technology sort of emerge. So expect to see more of that, and don't be surprised if you're teeing off someplace and all of a sudden you see this little robot cutting some rough someplace. It will happen. I saw it last year at Ladies Golf Club in Toronto. I watched a rough mower kind of working away. So it is what it is. So I mean, it's not going away.
This is where we're going. Technology is it's real. It's real.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Pretty soon we'll just be a couple of AI guys here talking golf on the podcast, and it won't actually be us. I guess the fact that I mentioned that right now, does that not make people wonder, are we AI?
There are already AI podcasts out there. So
are we really here talking to you, or are we just a couple of AI based figures that look like us talking to you about golf
with a script fed into the AI? So.
Do you know? I don't know.
Anyways, keep going.
I'm sorry, it's too funny. I wanted to mention we talked about my mug. I wanted to mention what's in the mug.
It's not coffee.
It is coffee, but it is thanks to my wonderful son, Brandon, who
Brazil
knows
and
I
get
like
some coffee?
coffee and decided I needed to upgrade.
Okay.
He bought me a Ninja individual coffee maker with a bean grinder.
Oh, fancy.
And I am now drinking every morning. I drink ground coffee beans.
Well, welcome to 2005.
In my, I was a Nescafe instant guy. I just boiled the kettle, dumped a couple scoops in.
Ugh.
Now this is my morning. I make fresh ground coffee every morning, and I have my coffee, and it also does Keurig pods.
I'll buy you a French press sometime, and you can try that out as well. So
this is plenty good enough for me.
There you go.
The Keurig pods, which are similar. So that's a technology thing, isn't it? From 20 years ago that I'm just now getting into. What is wrong with me? Why do I still use blades and putt with an 8802?
We'll talk about it.
And use persimmon drivers.
You do not use persimmon drivers and ladder balls. But
so that's why I say maybe this is AI.
We're going to talk a lot more about those trends in future
100%
shows as well. Obviously, that leads itself to a lot of different things. Maybe in some interviews and things that are related to that, especially with the golf courses, and see how they're making changes in 2026. I think that's important to kind of hear from their aspects as well, how their business has changed and how that's going to change not only for them but for the consumer as well. And the consumer is obviously the person that's most listening to this, and they want to know how things are going to affect them and impact them. So we'll continue to kind of pursue some of those trends, but we just wanted to point out some of the ones that are happening. So
now rounds were up last year.
That's the last big one.
Rounds were up in Canada in 2025. So do we expect rounds to go up again in 2026? Do we expect rounds to level out in 2026? Do we expect rounds to drop in 2026?
For me, depends on the weather.
Well, it does. Really, honestly,
really
I think the number of rounds played in Canada really does have a lot to do with the weather. I think the golfers are out there. I think the number of golfers is strong. Have we lost some golfers over the years since the whole COVID thing? Yes, 100% we have. We're not getting a steady increase. Yeah. So are the rounds going to go up? I think if we have a good weather season for golf, not too much rain, not too hot, that we're going to see, we're probably going to see a trend where rounds are going to be up a little bit, maybe level. I don't think we're going to see massive growth in the number of rounds played.
No, I don't think so.
I don't see that that's possible.
There's only so much market, really, when it comes down to it. You got to understand, while a lot of people golf, not everybody is a core golfer. And while, Golf Canada, our friends at Golf Canada might claim that, 5.5 million Canadian golfers or whatever, like some of those people are playing 1 or 2 rounds a year. So this is really about the core golfer more than anything. They're the ones that are responsible for most of the rounds. So there's too many factors here to kind of even predict it from a socioeconomic standpoint, a weather standpoint, just a business standpoint, as far as we don't know what people's budgets are, their attractions to go to different places. But I would say overall, I would put it probably at fairly level would be my best bet. More,
I would think so. I mean, we have to remember that things are costing more.
Correct. Exactly.
And when things cost more, that affects the amount of money that people have to spend on the extracurricular stuff like golf. So this isn't 3 or 4 years ago when, we didn't have the economic issues that we were having in the world right now. And it's just a reality. So I think levels probably somewhere around level is probably a reasonable thought. I don't think it's going to be massive growth, but
no, I think some small factors small but large factors, things like oil prices and price of gas staying down can help people to travel more or whatever. It doesn't mean they'll play more rounds because they can just play it maybe a little further from home. But I would just say that, that still doesn't mean the industry doesn't have to work harder to make sure those experiences are good because people want value for that money. But looking forward to it.
Yeah. And, so that's sort of our look ahead. There's a lot more to look ahead, a lot more things we can discuss, but that's sort of where we kind of cherry picked some very specific topics to talk about with everybody this week. And that's what we got. So Thank you for tuning in for that. Want to thank all our sponsors again this week: Metcalf Golf Club, Falcon Ridge Golf Club, and of course our presenting sponsor, Srixon Golf. At Srixon, performance is more than just a number; it's a feeling, and one that starts at the forge. Introducing ZXI irons with iForge, the groundbreaking achievement in shaping, pressing, and heating. This taken Srixon feel to an entirely new level. The ZXI irons from Srixon, how forged should feel. Visit Srixon.ca for more on the full lineup of the Srixon products. We do, of course, hope that you've been watching and enjoying watching and listening to us this week. Be sure to follow us across all of our social media networks: Instagram, X, TikTok, and Facebook. Subscribe to us on Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. And, of course, that's a YouTube channel. Like us, click the notification bell. Make sure you never miss a single episode. Get over to flagstick.com for more amazing golf content published every single day, especially a lot of equipment stuff coming down the pipe, so be ready for that. And be sure to subscribe to the Flagstick Digest newsletter. It's out 3 times a week and loaded with great stuff delivered direct to your inbox. As always, we appreciate you tuning in, but until next week, I am Jeff Potter.
And I'm Scott McLeod.
Remember, always go for the stick.